I am Sean McCabe, production director at Insomniac Games.
Awesome. Sean, what are you showing here at Oculus Connect?
So what we have here today at Oculus Connect is the Unspoken, which is a PvP spellcasting game for Oculus Rift and Touch. And we just announced that we're actually bundling with Touch pre-orders. It is a PvP competitive focused game that allows you to battle in an urban magic fight club. And what we're unveiling today, and while we're at Oculus Connect, are a new class, the Kineticist, that's all about using telekinesis to pick objects up and then throw them. We're showing off a new arena, Astra Gardens, which is a kind of this hidden rooftop garden in Chicago where the game takes place. We've revealed so far the Jackson Dig site that some people have seen, and also we've given people a first look at Elmhurst Avenue, which is another one of our locations. All the locations are these kind of like hidden pockets in Chicago.
Now, so talk about the gameplay. What are you doing in this game? You said you had different classes as well. Does each class play differently?
Well, they do. They have sort of a common set of inputs. You know, you have two primal spell. You have a primal spell in each hand, one for attack, one for defense, and then you can use gestures to cast these other spells. They're all very common inputs. The thing that differs with the classes are the effects. So if you play as the Anarchist, you're going to get a fireball primal. You're going to get an ice shield. You know, like the gesture spells all do different things. From the Kineticist, like example, the Anarchist gesture spell for volley, which is up like this, will send up fireworks into the air that'll then drop down on your opponent. The Kineticist, on the other hand, sends in cars to drop on people's heads. So we not only get the chance to have a slightly different playstyle with each class, but it also lets us you know, create these things that are a little bit playful, a little bit interesting, which I think is a part of Insomniac DNA.
So what was it like working with the Oculus Touch, and what did Oculus provide you in terms of support to help make this game a reality?
Yeah. I mean, Touch has been amazing. It was kind of love at first sight. We tried it last year's E3, and we got to play the toy box demo and walked out of that just saying, like, we have to make something for this. We could just tell that Touch it's transformational. We've made a lot of games for things with the controllers in the past. That's our history. But once we got these things, once we got to see VR hands and get a sense of hand presence, we saw that it was a total game changer. And the other thing was seeing multiplayer. You know, like the toy box demo, you had another person that you were getting to interact with. So not only did we see this opportunity for an even greater level of presence, but we also saw how cool it would be to create something multiplayer. The other thing too, like how we came to spellcasting and why it works so well with Touch. Spellcasting is something we've always wanted to do, but it's hard to do with a controller. You know, you think of spellcasting as this physical, you know, gestural thing, and with a controller, it felt limiting. It's something we've wanted to do for a long time, and so when we kind of put all those things together, and we're like, we have to do this PvP game that's all about magic in the modern world, all about casting spells using Touch.
So what was it like programming these gestures for Touch? Was it easy? Was it challenging?
I think it's the best kind of challenging. Definitely not easy. Nothing in VR is easy because everything's new. Now, there are certain things that we can carry forward as developers, you know, from the AAA, you know, 2D space. But a lot of things, they're new. They require new solutions. Like when we got this hardware, it was, you know, not nearly as slick as the device that you see now. And so we had to figure out how to make it work, like find out what works, what does it mean to cast a gesture. We ultimately decided, as far as gestures go, to go for things that are really broad and physical, because one of the cool things about it is you can move your body around a lot. And so we felt that this was a nice contrast. So you might be throwing, you might be shielding, but then you have to bring your hands all the way out to do this, or you have to cast a shield that way. We wanted to get a lot of physical components out of it.
So after working on this project with Oculus Touch and Oculus, what do you think that'll open up for future franchises at Insomniac?
Well, I mean, we've gotten to develop 3 new IPs with Oculus, which is amazing. I mean, it's like the most fun we could possibly have. Like, you know, since I've been at Insomniac, I've been part of launching like 2 or 3 IPs, and that's over the last like 13 years. So getting to do 3 in 1 year is amazing. I think we love the world of the Unspoken, and specifically we're committing to supporting this title with DLC, with ongoing support, with community engagement, as long as people are playing. So, I mean, our big point of focus right now is not just launching the Unspoken, but getting people out there, finding out what they want. What kind of classes do people want to see? You know, adding arenas to the game. adding even different modes. Like that's really what we want to do. And like Oculus has been an amazing partner to do that. They let us do what we love to do, and I think that speaks volumes for them as an organization.
And how are you guys handling movement in your game?
Well, movement is interesting. Always when you're dealing with a virtual reality title. We ended up going for a teleport scheme. The big reason why we did that is in these arenas we wanted this idea of sort of spatial awareness. We wanted people to be able to leverage different firing angles, move to different points, surprise people. So the teleport made a lot of sense. The kind of mechanic that we have now is it's sort of a look and point, so you can look and point out there in the environment, but you can also like plan where you go. You can't teleport whenever you want. There's a little bit of a cooldown on it. But what we really wanted is this notion of being able to get the drop on somebody by faking them out with one thing and then teleporting up there so you can get a shot off. And I think it's working pretty well right now.
And do you have a favorite class and why?
I'm really loving the kineticist. I love how different it is to play. It's the second class that we created. And so we had been using the anarchist for a really long time. And like the throw, became familiar. The thing that we got out of the kineticist is really different. Instead of charging a fireball, what you can do is you can look around the environment and you can say, hey, I want to grab that gargoyle, or I want to grab that park bench, or I want that cinder block because it's going to be closer, because it's closer to me and it's smaller, it'll come into my hand, and it added this whole different play style to it. And I also just think it has a really cool character design. You can see the avatars in the game. The avatars are driven by the head and hands, and so now we actually get to put, we can put a face on these characters and who they are, and I just think he's a really, really cool character. We're partnered with Oculus on this one, and we are coming out with Touch, and it was just announced in the press conference today that we're going to be bundled with all Touch pre-orders, which is really exciting because that means Touch owners are going to get, people that pre-order Touch are going to get a chance to dive into this world that we've created for them, but we're also going to get we have the potential to build a lot of users early on, which is important to us for a competitive game.
So December 6, 2016?
You got it, yeah.